and get some treatments, but none of the treatments worked. And sometimes we would hear other people getting through their cancer, and she'd say, "Why not me, Lord? Why not me?" God knows. We don't have all the answers. He just tells us to be faithful and thankful in everything. He doesn't tell us to have to understand. So we had a good year of closeness. Her last really clear words, other than a little bit to Carla and Maria, Friday night before she passed, she said, "Goodbye, Jim." And I said, "Hello, Peggy. We'll talk more tomorrow." But she didn't. That was it. But it was a year where we had a lot of closeness. I wrote a little something, and I don't know. I'll read it. I'll try to read it. I had 2 eye surgeries this year, too, and I was so thankful for Sabrina, who was, neither of us could drive, but he couldn't drive anymore after she had to bring it to her. And I couldn't drive when I had the eye surgery. So we had Sabrina, who was our chauffeur. She was very gracious. She spent almost 4 months with us, helping us through this time. So I have to take my glasses off to read because I'm still in the process. I didn't get my new glasses yet. I titled it, "A Life Well Lived Is Not Always Easy." May I tell you about a trip my wife and I have been on? We boarded a train. I call it the Jesus train. And it's open to whoever will. But when you get on it, you're making a decision to give up the control of your life to another. When you get on, you're asked to give up your ambitions and desires. Instead of doing what pleases yourself, you're asked to please the conductor. But this conductor is very kind and loving and has your best interests in mind. The conductor takes control as you learn to surrender to him more and more. And as long as you stay on the train, he will get you where you need to go. But sometimes it can be a scary ride. It runs 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. It takes a rest on the 7th day, you know. But to get on this train, you have to admit that you're lost and you need help to get where only he can take you. He paid the price for the ticket, so you don't need any money. But you have to come humbly and be willing to start at the caboose. As long as you have breath, you can get on this train. It could be day or night. From my experience, most people get on at night when they're in a dark time in their life. But you don't have to wait until night. In fact, you can save yourself a lot of grief if you get on in the daytime. But no matter when you get on, there will be night seasons and day. There's different cars on this train. There's a hospital car on this train where you can get healed from all your wounds that life experiences have produced. There's a rehab car where you can get free from the addictions that you may have picked up in life. But on this train is the possibility to be made totally whole and free. There's a car on this train that's called thankfulness. If you learn to sit in this car, you'll find that nothing in life can take away your peace of mind. An attitude of thankfulness in every situation is powerful. There's a lot of people who never sit in this car because they tend to murmur and complain when things get difficult. If you get on this train and you're single, it's a good idea to find a spouse who's also on this train so that you're both going in the same direction. If you're married before you get on this train, then it can be very painful if your spouse doesn't want to get on with you. But I've seen what love can do to convince the other to get on board also. I've seen times when both me and my wife were on the train but in different cars. This can be painful, but not too painful because at least you're heading in the right direction. On this train, you and your wife might have children. And when they're born, they'll be on this train and you'll teach them the way they should go, but some will decide not to stay. Or you just love them and pray for them. And you'll be amazed what the conductor might do to bring them back. As we make a deeper surrender to the conductor, we find that we're moving closer to the engine and closer to the conductor. There's nothing more wonderful than being in his presence. Sometimes you find yourself seated to somebody who looks pretty beat up and looks like a loser, or someone who you wouldn't want to sit next to. But just open up to him or her with your heart, and you'll find they are a great treasure. This train runs through deserts and storms, but the conductor says, fear not. I got on this train when I was a teenager and filled with insecurity and a lack of direction. Some people thought I was crazy, but it's been a wonderful ride. I have both cried and rejoiced on this train, but I'll never get off because the world doesn't offer anything comparable. While on this train, I've seen people put one foot on and one foot off. Boy, is that a recipe for disaster. The conductor said it's better to be on or off, because to be lukewarm is the worst condition of all. I've seen some bad train wrecks, but never this train. Some people are on trains that Jesus is not the conductor, and they always end up as a wreck. If you ever get on a train, make sure Jesus is the conductor. There's many imposters and misdirected trains. The conductor said, you will know the right one by the fruit that it produces. A bad train will be filled with hate and strife and greed, and they'll make you pay for your own ticket. But if you have a good and honest heart, you'll get on the right train. If you've ever noticed the train runs on tracks that keep it straight and steady, they're like the Spirit of God and the written Word of God that never changes. The conductor told me to always test something by sensing the spirit of the train and making sure it always agrees with what the Bible teaches. I found that it's the safest guide to be on the right train. I'm so thankful that both me and my wife got on this train. Lately, we got very close to each other because we were both in the same car. We were in the hospital car together. I was just there as a helper, but she was very sick. It was a very painful place to be, but it was just what the conductor ordered. He said we both had some heart trouble, but that he was going to fix it. We thought maybe we were going to see a physical miracle, but I read, before you chase miracles, chase a faith-filled life based on love. God did something valuable. He worked in our hearts during this very difficult year. He healed some relationships. He took out some anger and bitterness. He brought some unforgiveness and selflessness. There were some deep things in our heart that we didn't even know ourselves were there until He opened our eyes. I saw a beautiful change in myself and my wife. In fact, many times I looked into her face and I saw an angel. She also must have seen something because many times, just spontaneously, she would say, I love you. My wife recently got off this train. The conductor said she had arrived to her destination, and he promised to take very good care of her. So get on this train, no matter where it takes you. Just say to the conductor, thank you. No matter how painful, no matter how hard. I also want to say thank you to those who are already on this train. Thank you for your love and support.